night down there at the library over here, especially in the wintertime. Here y'all go. I hope y'all like it. 1, 2, 3. When the friendly but dead voice on the intercom finishes its countdown to 0, says with the firm sad guilt of breakups, layoffs, and denied bail, the library is now closed, and the hundreds of all-day residents make their way out, no books in hand, and the guards search the premises with flashlights to make sure nobody's getting the same free shelter as all the paperbacks, magazines, and DVDs, as the automatic doors become palace gates, and the church bells ring in the hour in a city changed by night into something different, a monster, a forbidden zone, an enemy, a maze of padlocks, a trail of dance floors that won't have you and parties you're not invited to, making their way past the benches that have held more stories than the buildings they're in front of, as if all written by the same genius who never runs out of unbelievable situations and unreplaceable characters but can't seem to write a happy ending. They scatter across town in search of the best pickings of shadow and crevice, playing hide and seek from the cold, the predators that TV cops hunt for, and the real-life officers that cruise the city, looking for signs of a need to pounce on. The night is a gamble, and the odds are good. But good odds only take you so far when you don't have to gamble every single night. You can't pick a place too comfortable, too warm, too full of other people who recognize solidarity as another way of saying fucked in all the same ways. You can't pick a place that makes too much sense. These days it's all about where no one can see. It's hiding behind power boxes. It's the lots where the grass grows tallest. It's crawls through parking garages till you reach a spot that the cameras can't see. It's hiding behind, it's the planes behind firing ranges with gunshots for a wake-up call. And when the bars let out, all of the drunks with addresses will point to every brown paper bag to say this is what the bums chose, as they shiver on their way to sealed cars and heated homes, and a bottle's never been the only thing they had to keep warm. And the party people blame drugs in a town they moved to do drugs, and the ones who give orders for a living say that they want to help. They serve up soup one night a year after tearing down kitchens that serve around the clock. They've got all kinds of answers except for ones that don't include them, and they're willing to do anything but take your word, talking about politics like it's a helping hand instead of a chokehold, a choir that needs your voice instead of the bars across the bus benches, the compactors behind the grocery stores, the ugly noises playing on loop beneath the warmest grates in town, so that if sleep comes, it comes chaperoned by nightmares, all the obstacles standing between you and your needs, you and your wants, in this city full of fields and canned goods, city full of nails and 2x4s and empty buildings, city full of matches and gasoline, oil barrels and blankets, of knives and bullets, of friends, and the resourcefulness that only comes to those who need it most, city full of ways to get by that are none of the business of those who only know the library as a place to check out books for free, who never sat in the one place in town where sitting without paying isn't some kind of theft, watching the countdown to night and war, city full of ways to get by that are none of the business of those that don't know shit about the threat of a world that comes with the words, yes! The library is now closed. Can y'all hear me all right?
Yes!
All right, cool. It sounds a little weird up here. All right, cool. Yeah, this next poem I wrote a couple days after the camping ban passed. Other people can tell you more about that in actual fact detail. This is emotional. This is what I see, what I think. I hope y'all like this. This is called Seedlings of the Free. Y'all ready?
Yeah.
Alright, feel free to make noise. I'm a performance poet. I like response. I like audience interaction. So even if you don't like what I'm saying, anything helps. Alright, 1, 2, 3, here we go. I might mess this up too. It's been a while since I've done this one. Alright, y'all can hear? Everyone's good? Alright, cool. The day that they made it illegal to keep warm without a roof in my city after dark, I was mowing lawns in the suburbs for a company I despise, turning the backyard forests of strange... Yeah, okay, wait for that. Y'all mind? Wait for them? Alright, cool. The day that they made it illegal to keep warm without a roof in my city after dark, I was mowing lawns in the suburbs for a company I despise, turning the backyard forests of strangers into the smooth golf course lines that the city will break you for not keeping straight. Whenever I'd get to a house whose grass looked like it hadn't seen a blade all year, I thought the uneven growths left behind when I was done weren't worth shit compared to the uneven jungles I'd just laid low. But as the visits to the same house piled up and the lawns got closer to real estate pornography, every green iron blade that stuck up higher than the rest, and all the leaves and unloved flowers that fit in gloriously in the garden grown by nothing but wind and human neglect. It all became a break to the lines of green. It was my job to keep intact, and the straighter they stayed, the better I felt about my work. A weed is just a plant that breaks a pattern that would go on forever without it, and once unexpected seeds sprout into an identical green sea. The masters of lawns can't call their job done until there are none left, but there's not a yard in the world that you can keep dandelions out of for good, so they can never win. This city started out like any other, a ragged mess built on top of what used to be rocky, thorny wonderland, then a place for renegades and outlaws to sleep under a blanket of stars and coverings that weren't yet illegal, then a place to sin and drink and fight and forget on those days off when there were no company guards to watch them like a canary. Then came the things worth protecting, Capitol buildings and mansions on hills, bank vaults and glittery towers built on oil and cable TV, conventions and silly statues and fast casual restaurant chains, things too precious to exist beside the wild growths that belong here, things that require mowers and laws to protect their dreams of a plush lawn city from being drowned out by the brambles and wildflowers that can never be chased away. But the ground will not be broken into taking orders, and people are not grass to be clipped into line, even in a place where the man who signed his name to make warmth and sleep a crime worthy of a year in jail slept in benches in his own childhood, and says all he's trying to do is build some tough love to push people a little harder into finding jobs that don't exist, to pay for homes that already do. Make something of yourself, like I did, like everyone can be a mayor, like everyone can win. But even if we could, what's the point when your path is set, when your trail is predetermined, when liberty is a gift from above to be taken in whole if you use too much of it, even in a place where the marijuana dispensaries outnumber the Starbucks 2-1, and there's only one Walmart in town, where they put rainbow flags on the street poles for the Pride Parade, paid for with the tax dollars of queers and fundamentalists alike, where poets can get paid to say the F word in public, and no new building gets built without solar panels on the roof, even when they hire ex-graffiti artists to paint murals in light rail stations, while the cops hunt through the night with copters for those with spray canisters and no permit to paint, even when every freedom is allowed so long as it is profitable and documented and overseen, even when the city tries hard as it can to look less like a golf course and more like a sustainable community garden. There is still a floor plan for the ground that you stand on that will not permit you to develop into anything that doesn't fit into the architect's sketch, even when what's allowed includes for the moment some things that I love: national parks and gas station coffee, doo-wop and photocopied manifestos and tattered old paperbacks, strips of diners and motels and tumbleweeds and incredible breakfasts, even when a life of regulation has all the beauty you need. The threat waiting for you if you veer off makes that beauty into the beauty of bonsai trees, teacup pigs, hedge animals, the beauty of a sovereign spirit trimmed into the beauty of another's plan. Leave the world as it stands, where desire runs wild, where downtown at dark makes downtown by day look like the shitty puppet show that it is, where the jungle that sprouts from a plot of land on its own makes the blueprinted lawns and xeriscape gardens look free as a boot camp. Let life be itself, with no one trying to sculpt it, and I'll gladly do people favors, go to pretty places, read scary stories, and go to bed early. Once you draw a line of a place you cannot go, a thing you cannot do, a freedom you cannot have, that's where I'll be. As long as there are crimes, I'll be a criminal. As long as there's plans for the ground we stand on, I'll gladly be a weed. And as long as there are limits to what you can become, there will be hostile growths whose goal is not conquest but to be what they are. So victory is certain. They can spray, they can chop, they can mow. They've done it before. They'll do it again, but we keep growing back. The greatest threat that they know, hostile growths like us, seedlings of the free.